The alien bride the stars were quiet, far from Earth. On a glowing blue planet called Valerian, a young alien girl named Zara stood alone on a balcony. The sky above her was full of floating moons and moving lights, but her eyes looked only at the message glowing in front of her. It was a hologram. Her father's voice echoed from it. Zara, we are out of time. The debt must be paid. You must marry the human. Zara's hands shook. She touched the message, and it stopped. Her heart felt heavy. She had always dreamed of being free, of exploring the stars, not being trapped in some old tradition, but her family was in danger. The Syndicate, a powerful group of space lords, wanted money her father did not have. And now they had made a deal. Zara would marry a rich human from Earth. In return, the debt would be erased. Zara was only 19 Valari years old, still young by her people's time. Her skin was smooth and silver blue. Her hair floated like smoke, and her eyes glowed with soft light. She was not like humans. She had never even seen one in real life. Why must I be sold like a thing? She whispered. Behind her, the royal assistant Rika walked in quietly. Your ship is ready, Zara. Earth is waiting. Zara turned to her. Do you know this human? What if he's cruel? What if he hates my kind? Rika looked sad. They say he is kind. His name is Ethan. His family is powerful, but humans are strange. Zara looked back at the sky. What if I can't live among them? Then survive. Rika said, survive for your people. A few hours later, Zara sat in a tall silver chair inside her ship. It was small, quiet, and lonely. The stars outside passed by quickly as the ship entered light speed toward Earth. She watched old Earth. Videos on a small screen. Humans looked so different, flat faces, round eyes, strange voices. They ate meat and lived in cold buildings. Some were kind, some were monsters. She didn't know what to expect. As the ship moved closer to Earth, Zara held a small crystal to her chest. It was a memory stone, showing her mother's face from many years ago. Be brave, my daughter. Her mother's voice echoed softly from the crystal. Even in darkness, your light will shine. Zara closed her eyes. She didn't want to cry. On Earth, deep inside a white mansion surrounded by high walls, Ethan stood in front of a mirror. He wore a simple black suit, but his eyes looked tired. His hair was neat, his posture strong, but he didn't look happy. His best friend Leo stood beside him. You really going to marry her? An alien girl you've never met? Leo asked. Ethan nodded. It's more than marriage, it's politics. My father made the deal. Leo frowned. But why would a Valari girl agree? Ethan looked down. Because she has no choice. Back in space, Zara's ship finally entered Earth's orbit. The blue and green planet spun slowly below. The system AI spoke softly. Arrival in 2 minutes. Prepare for landing. Zara stood, her heart pounding. She looked at herself in the mirror one last time. Her glowing eyes seemed a little dimmer. Her silver dress sparkled like starlight. This is not love, she told herself. This is survival. But deep inside, a small voice whispered something else. Something even she didn't understand. What if he's different? The ship landed in a quiet area outside the city. No reporters, no cameras, only black cars and silent men in suits. Zara walked down the ramp slowly, her feet touching Earth soil for the first time. The air smelled strange, heavy, warm. She saw the human waiting for her. Tall, calm, brown hair. Soft eyes. He didn't smile, but he didn't look angry either. He stepped forward and said, Welcome, Zara. I'm Ethan. Zara didn't answer. She only looked at him. Her breath caught in her chest. There was something in his eyes, something gentle, something familiar. And in that moment, something inside her changed. She didn't know what it was. Not yet, but it felt like the beginning of something real. The door opened slowly. Zara stepped into the giant Earth mansion. The walls were tall, cold, and white. Her soft silver footsteps made no sound on the floor. She looked around. Everything was sharp, bright, and strange. She had left her world behind. She had left everything behind. And now, She had to meet him. In the next room, Ethan Cross stood beside the window. He wasn't nervous, but he wasn't calm either. His fingers tapped slowly against the table, his mind full of questions. The woman he was about to marry wasn't human. She came from the stars. She came to pay a price, but Ethan had his own reasons too. He turned as he heard quiet steps behind him. There she was. Zyra stood in the doorway, her silver blue skin glowing softly under the earth light. Her eyes met his, shining like twin moons. She didn't smile. She didn't bow. She simply stared. So did he. The silence lasted 10 seconds. Maybe 20. And then Ethan said softly, "You look different, but not in a bad way." Zyra blinked. "You look smaller than I imagined," Ethan chuckled. "I get that a lot." Their first meeting was short. There were no flowers, no music, no guests. Just a paper, a pen, 2 signatures. And a cold contract. Kiss in front of a government recorder, but something strange happened during that kiss, brief and quiet. As it was, Zyra felt warmth in his touch, a human warmth she had never known, and Ethan, he saw something in her eyes. Something. Broken, something he wanted to protect. That night, the sky outside was dark and heavy. Rain tapped the mansion roof softly, like fingers of the wind. Zyra stood in her new room. She didn't sleep. She looked out the window, her eyes full of questions. She didn't know what kind of man Ethan really was. Was he pretending? Was he just using her? She didn't trust him. But she didn't fear him either. On her table, a small box waited. It had her name on it. Zyra opened it. Inside was a letter, handwritten, old-fashioned, human. "Zyra, if you're reading this, it means the marriage is complete. I know this is strange for both of us. I know you didn't want this. I didn't either. But I agreed to this for a reason. I know who you are. I've known since I was 10 years old." Zyra's hand stopped moving. What? She kept reading. 12 years ago, I saw a ship crash. In the forest near my home, I never told anyone. A girl came out, hurt, glowing like starlight. She touched my hand before disappearing. That girl was you. Her mind froze. It was impossible. She had no memory of this. She had never been to Earth before, had she? Suddenly, the door behind her opened. Ethan stepped in. No guards, no force, just him. He saw the letter in her hand and nodded. "I kept that secret for 12 years, he said. "And when I saw your name in the agreement, I knew it was fate." Zyra didn't speak. She looked at him, truly. Looked at him now. "Why didn't you tell anyone about me back then?" she asked. Ethan smiled slightly. "Because you looked scared and kind. I thought maybe you were lost, and I didn't want anyone to hurt you." Zyra looked down. No one had ever said such words to her. Not even on her home planet. "I don't trust you yet," she said. "That's fair," Ethan replied, "but maybe with time." "You will." Later that night, Zyra stood at her window again. This time, she didn't feel alone. Somewhere in another room, her new husband, the human groom, was awake too, staring at the same stars. And both of them were thinking the same thing. This isn't just a marriage. This is a beginning. But far away, in the shadows of space, someone was watching. A red dot blinked in the corner of Zyra's window, small and hidden, and in a cold voice, a figure whispered, "The Villari girl is in place. Begin phase 1. The mansion was too quiet. Zyra walked through the long hallway, her bare feet soft against the wooden floor. The walls were lined with tall mirrors and human paintings. But every painting had eyes, and every mirror seemed to watch her back. She didn't trust this place yet. Too clean, too perfect. It felt like a trap wrapped in silk. She paused near a doorway and placed her palm gently on the cold wall. No sound, but the wall felt alive. Down in the lower floor, Ethan sat in a small library, a book open in his hand, but his eyes far away. He couldn't stop thinking about her. Zyra, the alien bride with glowing eyes and quiet sadness. He had spent his life studying stars, science, and secrets. But he had never met anything like her, not in books, not in dreams. And now she lived in his house. As his wife, but she didn't smile. She didn't trust. Not yet, He stood up and walked toward the hidden elevator behind the bookshelf. Time. To show her the truth, Zyra reached the end of the hallway. A door stood there, locked, made of smooth, black steel. Her hand hovered over it. She felt something inside, something cold. An old dot. Suddenly, Ethan's voice broke the silence. Don't go in there. Not alone. Zyra turned. Ethan stood behind her, holding a small glowing card. He stepped forward and placed the card. On the lock, the door slid open with a quiet hiss. You should see this, he said. Inside was a secret lab, not full of weapons, but filled with alien tech. Velari crystals floated in glass tubes. Star maps blinked across the walls. A piece of her own planet's language glowed on a screen. Zyra's mouth opened slightly. This is Velari tech. Where did you get all this? Ethan looked at her, calm, from the crash. The one I told you about. You kept all this? I studied it, quietly. I didn't want it falling into the wrong hands. Zyra walked slowly through the lab. Her fingers traced the edge of a floating stone. These are pieces of my world, lost, forgotten, and you saved them, Ethan nodded. I didn't know what I was keeping, until now. For the first time, Zyra smiled. Just a little. She looked at Ethan and asked, Are you always this strange? Ethan laughed. Only around aliens. Their eyes met. For a moment the room felt warm, but warmth never lasts long. The lights flickered. The screen blinked red. A message appeared in broken Velari code. They are watching. Zyra's smile faded. Who is watching? She asked. Ethan's face turned serious. I don't know. That message wasn't sent. By me. That night, Zyra couldn't sleep. She sat near her window again, holding the memory crystal from her mother. But even the soft voice from the past couldn't calm her. Her mind spun in circles. Why was there Velari tech in Ethan's home? Why had someone sent that message? And who was they? She looked around her room again, and then she saw it. A tiny red light hidden behind a wall vent. It blinked once. Then stopped. Zyra walked slowly toward it. She knelt down. Reached for it. The wall was warm. Suddenly, the red light blinked again. And then vanished. Down in the basement, deep behind the lab, an old camera powered down. A man watched the feed on a dusty screen. He wore a black coat and a mask. His voice was low and sharp. The alien bride has found the watcher. Phase 2 begins. Now, beside him, another figure stepped out of the shadows, wearing Earth military armor, but his eyes glowed red. Not human. Not at all. The dream felt real. Zyra stood in a burning field, her home planet glowing red in the sky. She could hear her father's voice crying out across the stars, Zyra, run, they're coming. Then the fire swallowed everything. She woke up, sweat on her skin, lights blinking above. Cold air around her, but it wasn't a dream. Downstairs, Ethan sat in the control room, checking security feeds. The red blinking from the night before had returned. Now it wasn't just in Zyra's room. It was in 5 rooms, watching them, tracking them. He felt something shift inside his chest. They've found her. He grabbed a weapon from the drawer, not to use, but just in case, because this wasn't just about dead anymore. This was a warning. A message flashed on Zyra's screen. This time, not from Ethan. Encrypted Velari signal, private sender, High Elder Talus subject, URG-ENT. Zyra opened the message. Her eyes widened as the words scrolled. The debt was only part of it. They never planned to leave you alone. The Syndicate is using you to access Earth. They want more than your life. They want war. Her hands froze behind her. Ethan entered quietly. You got it too? He asked. She turned. You knew? Ethan nodded. I didn't want to believe it, but now I do. Suddenly, the mansion lights went dark. Alarms didn't ring, but silence spoke louder. A loud boom shook the walls. They rushed to the lab. One of the crystal tubes had shattered. The Velari energy inside it gone. Ethan's face turned pale. They're already here. Who? Zyra whispered. The Syndicate, Ethan replied. They found a way to Earth. Outside the mansion, black ships hovered over the hills, silent, without engines. 3 red-eyed soldiers stood near the trees, scanning the house. They were not human, They looked like humans, but inside, they were machines with syndicate minds. Confirmed target, Zyra Valerian. Engage in 2 minutes. No survivors. Inside, Zyra stood in front of the lab screen, her hands glowing softly. I can feel them, she said. They're trying to break my signal to pull me back. Ethan looked at her. Can you fight them? She didn't answer at first. Then her eyes lit up, brighter than ever before. I can do more than that. Zyra stepped into the hallway. Her fingers moved through the air, drawing invisible symbols. The walls of the mansion began to shift, glowing with old Valari symbols Ethan had never seen. You never told me you could do this, Ethan said. I never had to, Zyra replied, until now. She reached the front door. The outside was no longer hidden. The ships. The soldiers. The danger. Zyra took a deep breath and stepped outside. The first syndicate soldier pointed a weapon at her. Zyra Valerian. You are property of the debt agreement. Return now or be taken. But Zyra didn't move. She raised one hand, glowing with blue light. I'm not your property. The ground shook. Her power shot out, a wave of light and sound, knocking the first 2 soldiers into the air. The ship above tilted. Sparks flew from the engines. Inside the house, Ethan watched in shock. She wasn't just a bride. She was a weapon. The last soldier tried to fire, but a wall of energy appeared around Zyra. Her eyes were pure white now, her voice deeper. If you touch him, I'll destroy every syndicate ship in this system. The soldier paused, then vanished. In a blink of red light, the others followed. Gon.cy stood alone under the dark sky, her breath heavy. She turned to find Ethan standing there. Watching her, he didn't speak. He walked to her, slowly, carefully, and then he reached for her hand. She pulled back. You're afraid of me now? No, Ethan said. I'm afraid for you. She looked at him, confused. If they want you this badly, they'll come again. Zyra nodded. Then we stop hiding. We find them first. Far above Earth, in the dark edge of orbit, a large shadow moved. A ship, black, silent and massive. Inside it, a tall figure in golden armor stood before a glowing map. She's more powerful than expected, he said. We will need the other one. Another figure stepped into the light. Human, but with a red glow in his eyes. Bring me Ethan Cross, the commander said. Alive! The stars were no longer beautiful. Zyra sat on the roof of the mansion, her silver blue skin glowing in the night air. The wind moved gently through her hair, but her heart was heavy. Below her, the house was silent. The walls had been repaired. The syndicate's attack was over. For now, but she knew it wasn't the end. They would come again. Stronger, smarter, this time for both of them, and she couldn't let that happen. Inside, Ethan opened a hidden panel in the wall. It revealed an old device, dusty, half-broken, but still alive. A round black core flickered softly. A small blue eye blinked in the center. Zero? Ethan whispered. Are you still in there? The eye blinked again. Then came the voice, robotic, tired, sarcastic. Ethan Cross, last login, 6 years, impressive loyalty. Ethan smiled. Still dramatic, I see. Still doomed, I see, Zero replied. Zyra entered the room. She raised an eyebrow at the machine. What is that? That? Ethan said. Is our way out? Zero spoke again. Correction, I'm a rogue pilot AI, banned on 12 planets, also extremely handsome. Zyra blinked. It talks too much. She's perfect, Zero said. The plan was simple, but dangerous. They would leave Earth by nightfall. Travel through an old space tunnel Ethan had used once during a smuggling mission. Zyra would power the hidden ship buried under the mansion. Zero would fly it, but one problem remained. I need a Valari memory crystal, Zero said. To unlock the path, Zyra frowned. That's a part of my past. My real one, are you sure? Yes, Zero answered. Only a Valari soul can guide this ship. She reached into her pocket slowly and took out the crystal. It pulsed like a heartbeat. What will it show? Ethan asked. Whatever she fears most, Zero said quietly. Zero placed the crystal on the ship's core. The lights dimmed. The Room fell silent. A hologram began to form. Not a picture. A memory dot. It showed a forest, fire, screams, and a little Valari girl. Running through the trees, behind her, syndicate soldiers. In front of her, a small human boy. Ethan. Young, dirty, afraid, but when she fell, he helped her up. He held her hand. He didn't run. You saved me once, the young Zyra whispered, and then the memory faded. Zyra stared at Ethan. It was you that day. You were just a child, Ethan nodded softly. I didn't understand what I saw until now. The ship unlocked. Lights turned green. The floor rumbled as engines below the mansion powered on for the first time in years. 0 word. Congratulations, you're now criminals in 2 galaxies. Zyra stepped onto the platform, looking back at the house for one last time. Home, she whispered. No, Ethan said beside her. This is home now. But before they could enter the ship, the alarm screamed. On the mansion screens. A blinking signal, encrypted, Valari code, but this time not from the syndicate. It was from her father. Zyra ran to the console and opened the message. His face appeared old, tired, wounded. Zyra. Listen, you must leave Earth now, but leave Ethan behind. Zyra's breath caught. The syndicate wants you, but they need him. His bloodline holds a code, a lock we cannot break. He is more important than even you. Ethan's face went pale. What is he talking about? Zyra turned to him. Your father made a deal long ago, a secret pact. Your DNA is the key too? Something ancient. Ethan shook his head. This can't be real. It is, she said. They'll follow us, but they'll hunt you. He stepped forward. Then let them. Ethan reached out and pressed the launch key. The platform rose from the mansion. The stars came into view. Zero's voice filled the room. Ship is live. Coordinates locked. Escape path ready. Zera looked at Ethan. You don't have to come. You didn't leave me in the forest, he said. I'm not leaving you now. High above, inside the dark syndicate warship, a red-eyed soldier looked at the blinking screen. Target escaping. Activate tracker. Prepare to intercept at checkpoint Delta. A shadow stepped forward. Tall, pale, armored in black and gold. Let them run, he said. We'll take the boy when he's alone, and behind him. A frozen chamber opened. Inside, a second Ethan, sleeping. Space was silent, too silent. Inside the ship, Zera stared at the stars. They looked peaceful, but her heart was in chaos. Ethan slept on a seat nearby, a jacket covering his chest. His head leaned back, lips slightly parted. He looked calm, but Zera could not sleep, not after her father's message. Leave him behind, or the Valari people will die. She played those words again in her mind, over and over, like a broken song. She hated the choice. She hated him for asking. But most of all, she hated herself for even thinking about it. 0 The AI interrupted the silence. We'll reach the jump gate in 6 hours. You should rest. I can't, Zyra replied. Because of the boy? She didn't answer. He would stay for you, even if it killed him, Zero said. That's the problem, she whispered, later. Ethan woke up. He found Zera standing in the hallway near the engine room, alone, distant. He walked up behind her, quiet. You didn't sleep. I couldn't. Ethan leaned beside her. I had a dream about a red planet. About you, crying. Zyra didn't move. It wasn't a dream, she finally said. That planet was real? It's where they made syndicate soldiers, Ethan blinked. Why would I dream about it? Zyra's voice lowered. Because you were born there too. The ship shook. Not from outside, but from the truth between them. What? Ethan asked, stepping back. What are you saying? Your family never told you where your bloodline comes from, Zyra said slowly. You're human, but you were designed for something more. Ethan's hands clenched. My father was a good man. Your father made deals with monsters, she said. You are the lock they couldn't open. And now they want the key back. Silence again. Until Zero's voice rang out. Incoming transmission. Anonymous source. Zyra and Ethan rushed to the bridge. The screen blinked. A voice came through. Robotic scrambled. You have 1 hour. If Ethan Cross is not delivered to the syndicate gate, Valerian will burn. Zyra's heart dropped. The message repeated. Then ended. Ethan looked at her. What will you do? She didn't answer. That night, while Ethan rested in the control chair, Xeno walked into the escape pod bay. Her hands trembled as she programmed the coordinates, one pod. One chance. She could send him away, to safety, to life. Forgive me, she whispered. She turned to leave. But he was already standing there. You were really going to send me away, Ethan said. Xeno stepped back. You have to survive. You lied to me. No, she said. I saved you. He stared at her, hurt filling his eyes. You promised we'd face this together. I lied, she said again, but this time her voice broke. Because I love you. Suddenly, alarm screamed. Zero's voice shouted, Too late. They found us. Outside the ship, 3 syndicate vessels appeared. And inside the largest one, the masked commander gave a signal. Take her. Leave the boy. Inside the ship, doors exploded open. Black armored syndicate soldiers stormed in. Ethan fought back with everything he had, but there were too many. Xeno screamed as one soldier threw her against the wall. She's more powerful than we thought, one said. Use the neural spike. They hit her with a weapon. She collapsed. Glowing veins dimming, Ethan tried to reach her. Don't touch her, he yelled. You're not the target, a soldier said. Not yet. Xeno looked at Ethan one last time as she was dragged away. I'm sorry, I couldn't save you. No, Ethan whispered. I'll save you. And then she was gone. Hours passed. Ethan woke up in the broken ship, alone. His hands were shaking. The ship was half destroyed. Xeno gone. Only one thing was left behind. Her memory crystal. He picked it up. Suddenly, it lit up, showing one final message from her. If you're reading this, it means they took me. Don't follow me yet. Find the second gate. We'll meet again. Ethan closed his fist around the crystal. His eyes no longer looked afraid. They looked ready. I'm coming for you. Far away, deep in a cold syndicate prison, Xeno opened her eyes, chains on her wrists. A masked figure stepped forward. You gave up everything for him, he said. But will he do the same? And then he stepped aside. To reveal a second. Ethan locked behind glass. Eyes glowing red, smiling, darkness surrounded her. Xeno sat in the cold prison cell, her wrists bound by red metal chains that weakened her powers. The air smelled like fear, old, silent, and full of broken hope. Across from her, behind a glass chamber, stood the other Ethan. His face looked the same, his voice was soft, but his eyes glowed red. Why are you doing this? Xeno whispered. He smiled. Because I was made to replace him. And unlike the real Ethan, I don't break. Meanwhile, the real Ethan flew through a burning sky. His stolen syndicate ship tore through space, chased by enemy drones. The engines were dying. The shields were cracked. But his focus never shifted. He held Xeno's crystal in one hand. You said we'd meet at the second gate, he whispered. I'll tear open the stars if I have to. Xeno, patched into the system, buzzed through the speakers. You're insane. You'll never reach the prison alive. Then help me, Ethan said, or shut up back in the prison. Xeno closed her eyes. She remembered Ethan's voice, the way he looked at her, the way he chose her when no one else did. She wasn't weak, not anymore. Her body was chained, but her mind was free. She began humming an old Valari song, one that awakened her inner energy. The room started to glow. The red chain shook, the glass around fake Ethan cracked. What are you doing? He hissed. Remembering who I am? She said, rising. In space, Ethan reached the syndicate prison moon. It floated like a dead planet, dark, armed, and waiting. Xeno guided the ship into the shadows. You'll only get one shot, he warned. That's all I need, Ethan said. He jumped from the ship with a plasma blade in one hand and Xeno's crystal around his neck. Inside the prison, chaos had begun. Xeno's power exploded in a wave of blue light, breaking the chains and melting. The door of her cell. Guards rushed in, but she was no longer afraid. She moved like wind and fire, not to kill, but to escape. I'm coming, Ethan, she said. Then it happened. A blast shook the prison walls. Dust fell from the ceiling. A red alarm screamed. Across the halls, Ethan had arrived. He fought his way through with a fire in his heart, not just to rescue her, but to finish this. When they finally met again, at the heart of the prison, the world paused for a breath. Their eyes met. No words, just a moment, and then they ran toward each other, but standing in their way was fake Ethan. Only one of us leaves, the clone said, drawing a syndicate sword. Choose, Zyra, him or me. Zyra didn't blink. I already chose, she said. She raised her hand, her energy burning white-hot, and blasted the clone backward. But he didn't fall. He stood up, laughing. You think love will save him? Ethan stepped forward. No fear. It already did. The final fight began. 2 Ethans. One truth. One lie. Zyra fought beside the real one, their powers sensed. Their hearts connected. The clone was strong, fast, and full of rage, but he had no soul. In the final moment, Ethan was hurt, bleeding, down on one knee. The clone rushed to finish him, but Zyra stepped between them, arms wide. You're not him, she said. You never will be. She closed her eyes and released her full power. A blast of pure light erupted from her, not to kill, but to erase all that was fake. The clone vanished in smoke. And silence returned later. They stood on the hill above the broken prison moon. The stars looked different now, not cold, not silent, just free. So what now? Ethan asked. Cyr smiled. We build something new. Together? Always. Back on Valerian, her. People watched the sky. A new signal appeared, not from the syndicate, but from Zyra. We are not slaves, her voice said. We are not property. We are home. And far away, inside a dark syndicate lab, a scientist stared at a screen. We lost the clone, another voice replied. Prepare the next one. A row of glowing tanks lit up. Inside each one, a copy of Zyra.